Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in and welcome. Today I want to talk to you about getting your head around eating fat. So if you've been in this group a little while or if you follow functional medicine, then you will know that we need dietary fat. Many of my clients struggle to get their head around this. People seem to grasp quite easily the reasons behind why we need to reduce carbohydrates, in particular processed and refined ones, but many struggle to accept that they should be upping the fat to replace the carbs. So I want to talk a little bit more about this, particularly because I know that fat and higher calorie food can be quite triggering for some people. So let's rewind a little bit, because I'm sure there are plenty of you that are still avoiding fat or counting calories because that's your understanding of healthy eating, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page. So my philosophy for weight loss, or more accurately fat loss, involves various factors, but the overarching concept is low carb, high fat. And I'm calling this my philosophy because this is what I do with my clients. But that doesn't mean that this is something that I've just made up. So my philosophy is based on scientific research that has shown that a high fat, low carb lifestyle is an effective treatment for obesity and diabetes. And it's healthy in the long run, so it's something that you can do forever. It's been shown to reduce the risk of degenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's, reduce the risk of autoimmune conditions, support gut health, and the list goes on and on. This philosophy is also based on the results that I see in my clinic every day, and from working with real people that I've created a strategy for and that works and is easy to follow. So it's a lifestyle change and not a diet. So this is partly what I coach my clients to implement. And as I've said, people can understand why we need to reduce the starchy carbohydrates and the processed carbohydrates and the sugars, but they struggle with the fat. So just quickly, carbohydrates are foods like bread, pasta, rice, potato, cake, biscuits, chocolate bars, crisps, all the things that you probably love. All these are digested down into sugar, which we need for energy, and only a tiny bit of energy is actually needed or a tiny bit of sugar is needed to make energy, and anything that's left over will be stored as fat. So it's fairly easy to see that we need to reduce carbs. There is more to it than that, but I want to keep this quite simple because we're talking more about fat. So what people find confusing is that they need to increase their fat intake. So fat does not make you fat. The only way we can store fat is by converting glucose or sugar into fat within our cells. So eating fat will not make you fat. So look at the Eskimos, for example, who survive on whale blubber. Their diet is 80% fat. They're not overweight, so they have no diabetes, no cardiovascular disease, no dementia. Sure, their lifestyles are very different, but if fat made you fat, then they would at least be a little bit chubby. So research backs this up as well, and previous research that has linked fat to heart disease and obesity has actually been discredited. So here's some reasons why we need fat in the diet. Number one is that we need fat to make hormones. So your body makes hormones from the food that you eat. If you are deficient in fat, you will more than likely have hormonal imbalances. So number two is that fat is digested extremely slowly, and therefore it keeps us full up for hours, giving us a steady release of energy. Most importantly, it does not promote the production of the fat storage hormone insulin, and carbohydrates do. Number 3 is that fat is incredibly nutritious. So certain vitamins are fat soluble, and this means that we cannot absorb them without fat being present. It also means that those who have a very low fat diet are probably chronically deficient in these vitamins. So it's worth noting that some fats should be limited, and whilst you might immediately think of saturated fat, actually I'm talking about vegetable oils. That's a discussion for another time, but bear in mind that whilst you need more fat in your diet, you do need to think about the types of fats that you're having, and vegetable oils are ones to not overdo. So that's 3 key reasons to eat fat. I think a lot of people think that they can make their own rules up to speed up the weight loss and not only reduce carbohydrates but also avoid fat, because fat is calorific. But here's the truth. There is no such thing as a low-fat, low-carb diet. Well, not unless you are eating lean meat and lettuce only. There are only 3 macronutrients: fats, carbs, and protein. If you limit fat and carbs, then that just leaves protein, and you can't survive with your calories coming predominantly from protein. If you think that you're doing low carb and low fat, trust me, you're not. Low fat options are usually loaded with sugar and lots of other stuff. Whether it's yogurt or mayonnaise, hummus, if it's the low fat option, they replace the fat with sugar. Sugar is a carbohydrate, and so this means that by still opting for low fat options, you are inadvertently still eating a significant amount of carbohydrates, because sugar is carbs. This will be fueling your carb and sweet cravings, meaning that you have to rely on willpower to control yourself. So do yourself a favor, as well as keeping carbohydrates to a small proportion of your diet, just enjoy that. Trust me, you'll enjoy your food more, you'll feel fuller for longer, and you will lose the cravings, and ultimately you will lose weight. Please let me know if you have any questions. I know this stuff can be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Also, if you're one of my clients who have been through this process with me, please do share below in the comments how you found switching your diet around. I know it will help others to hear from those who are in a similar position who it's helped. So thank you in advance for anyone who does share. Let me just take a look and see if I've got any questions at all. Can't see any at the moment. If you do have any questions, then just post in the comments, and I will answer them. I'll write out an answer, or if it's a big question, then I might even do another video to answer the question. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you soon. Bye.